I was filming a previous video and then it got cut because of the phone's like, do you want to cancel this app? I guess I can't really get angry at the phone. Like, it wouldn't really make much sense. Oh, but yeah. Oh, what did I say? Meditation has benefits. I think sometimes we do something for a short period of time and we expect to see profound changes. I don't think there is such a thing as profound changes. I think there are realizations, rediscoveries. I think we spend our lives drifting away from truth, and then we spend the remainder of our life drifting back towards that truth. It's quite weird. Um, but honestly, yeah, I mean, to me, it's simply about like living your living a truthful life. Beyond that, nothing else. It's about doing what I do, etc., etc., regardless of any monetary gain. It's about virtue, mixed in with some novelty. Drinking vodka occasionally will never hurt. But yeah, it's about virtue. Virtue, what is virtue described as? Timeless traits that help us navigate through the universe. Like what? Is virtue confidence? Virtue is to be daring. Virtue is like the ultimate explorer starter pack. You need to be brave. You need to be curious. You need to be, yeah, heroic, etc., etc., etc. Smart person would think of 500 different things. But fuck smart people. I'm smarter than that was partly, partly, uh, partly humor, partly a joke, partly satirical. That wouldn't make sense. Partly something, partly funny, partly unserious, partly not true. I don't know. A lot of times it's difficult to find these words. It's like you have this word at the tip of your tongue, but boo hoo. But that's cool. Virtuous. Yeah, it exists within you naturally. Funny enough, but what am I supposed to say about virtue? I want to talk about meditation, but I've said enough about it. It is very helpful. It just depends on what the goal is exactly. If you want to increase your focus, sure. If you want to tame your mind, because sometimes your mind can be beastly, then yeah, sure. Getting your ego under control, paying attention to everything that's happening within your brain, along with training your focus. But I find the true value lies in just kind of figuring this thing out. Because a lot of the times it can cast a lot of illusions, and you kind of have to navigate through those. It's like walking through fog when you don't meditate. When you start meditating, then all of a sudden everything becomes clearer and clearer. You start to pay attention to more and more subtleties. It's just much easier to navigate throughout life. Now, upon meditating, I realized this, but I also realized that that's not always the case. Sometimes you face much bigger problems. So, for everyday problems, it works, but for bigger problems, yeah, yeah, they show up occasionally, like here and there, once every 2 weeks or something, and you somehow have to like get over it or just take a break and figure out how have I faced bigger problems? Well, in all honesty, I just sort of retreat for a while. Uh, could there be a better solution? Perhaps there's a better solution. What's a better solution to like facing big problems? What could I think of at the top of my head? Well, I'd make the argument that the more you go throughout life, the more you meditate, the more you pay attention to your thoughts, the easier it becomes to navigate through this like storm that's brewing within your head. Um, and yeah, at some point the bigger problems become less big. A good analogy I could use is when you're lifting weight. Of course, there are some days where it's just much more difficult than others. There's some days where your normal weight maybe feels a little bit heavier than it should feel, but then eventually your normal weight will become like what? Nothing, and then you move up in weight. And it's the same as meditating. Eventually, what used to trouble you will appear as nothing, and then there will be new problems. And then you'll move through those, and then you'll move through those, and then you'll move through those. But I think it's about enjoying that whole dance with life and enjoying the fact that you're going to trip and fall. But the joy is in being able to stand up. What did the Chinese people say? They were like, fall down 7 times, stand up the eighth. Well, when I read into that analogy, to me it just sounds like you're gonna fail a whole bunch of times, and but you have to stand up nevertheless. Which is interesting because if you could make the argument that well, that sounds like a shitty life, but you find that there's a lot of rewards waiting for you as you stand up, or not in the end. Along the way, there's a lot you can learn and there's a lot you can discover. But those discoveries are only useful because of the journey you walked. So you start to appreciate those small things, those small inconveniences. Because life would be quite boring if it was only fun, now wouldn't it? In fact, there would be no such thing as fun if it was only fun. It would just be that, the way it is. So yeah, I think you can experience something bad with a smile. It doesn't necessarily have to be sad. And I think you could get used to smiling. But anyways, those are my thoughts. It's easy to think. Try putting it into practice. It's just a complete. It's not a disaster. It's that a practice. It's like when I used to exercise when I was younger. It was like difficult, but it was exciting. Difficult but exciting. Then yeah. So putting it into practice was still fun. I guess it's just your intent. If your intent is not, if your mind is not in the right place, if your focus is not in the right place, if you keep focusing on the wrong things, of course it's gonna seem hellish, won't it? But yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's just how I perceive it. That's how I see it. All the crazy shit I've done.